This is Kugan Cassius for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in Fight Camp. It's week 1. It's all going off.
That was a new, exciting intro. Is that your new intro for this season's Fight Camp?
No, just get a bit silly around you, I think, Ben.
Blaming me. Typical.
We had a conversation off camera the other day where I said that if you were to pull off Leeward's victory over Zucan this Saturday night, it would, I think, rank as your top achievement, considering your list of achievements in your very short career as a trainer is quite good. But I would say that if you pull this off, but I think that's a fair comment, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Funny enough, someone asked me earlier about where would it sort of rank, and I often get asked that, like, where does this win rank and where does that win rank? But I don't really like put them in a pile together. I'll probably put them separately in each individual piles, like Leeward wins, McGregor, Josh Taylor, Billy Joe, Tyson. Like, obviously there's some fantastic wins there, but they're each individual because I've said this so many times that my passion is to help the lads achieve their goals, and obviously each time they're doing that, and obviously it was a big one, Leeward, to pick up for the British title because he had unfortunately unsuccessfully previously attempted to, unfortunately not been successful attempting to win the British title. However, in our first fight together, we managed to achieve that, which had been a goal for me since 11 years old. So that was a real satisfying win, and obviously now getting this, I wouldn't say late notice like they've tried to trick us, I don't mean it by that, but sort of 5-6 weeks ago, sort of got the nod or a hint that Lee was going to get this fight, and it's just, what's the word I'm looking for? A life-changing opportunity, grab it in your hands type moment, and God willing on Saturday he's able to do that.
Now, knowing you, I know you would have studied Zucan like a history exam. And
I actually passed history. Interesting. Just put that out there. I did pass my history test. So.
What year was the Battle of Hastings?
1066.
Go on, son. Go on, son. I'll give you the most basic history question I could have ever thought of.
And there's me sitting there like, yeah.
Go on, 1066. I know you would have studied him. We know what we know about Zucan. Yeah. Big volume puncher, for a start. What does his record tell you? What does his stoppage record tell you? Misleading?
I think to a degree, because people probably think he's tickling you with those punches, and that's obviously not going to be the case. However, more than his record, what I would say is his fight against Rojas, because Rojas seems to be a bit of a puncher himself, and that didn't seem to trouble him. And obviously there's been a lot made about Leeward's power, but there's got, power itself isn't going to win him world title fights. It's not going to win you British title fights, so it's about going in there and doing the right things, and that's obviously an advantage. However, like you said, he's known for his volume punching. If the fact that Leeward carries power, that itself lowers Kansu's punch output to not want to be there for extended periods of time, then Lee's partly taking away Kansu's best attribute without actually having to do anything. But again, Lee won't be the first big puncher that he's fought, so you're going to need more than that.
Something I discussed with Lee yesterday, that a perception could be from the outside that the only way Leeward can win this fight is by knocking him out or stopping him. But if I know you, I'll know that sometimes if we're to assume that, we may be a little bit naive just to assume that that's the game plan and that's the way he's going to win, because I'm sure you would have explored A, B and C. We just don't know what order kind of the plan's running.
Yeah, I'd probably say it is probably the most, I don't want to say the most likely, but history sort of shows us that a volume puncher versus a slugger type / puncher like a Leeward doesn't tend to bode well for the volume puncher. Shows that just recently when we saw Josh Warrington box Lara. But if like I said before, if Leeward goes out there I need to land a bomb, it's not going to come at this level. It's just not going to happen. He needs to be able to control Can Xu, take away his volume punching, or in moments use it against him. But like I say, people think that he's just going to let Can Xu work, and he's just going to look for one shot trying to take him out. It's not going to happen at this level, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's a lot more that needs to be done. But to be honest with you, of all the game plans that have been put together across all the fighters, I would say that Leeward knows exactly what he needs to do as well, if not better than any other fighter that we've prepared before. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He's repeating it bang on. The other day I looked at him and I thought, there's not much more coaching in terms of the preparation that we can do for these next few days. We will still drill it just to keep forcing it upon him and keep him thinking about it. But he knows exactly what he needs to do, and it's just a case of going out there on Saturday and doing it.
Wood against Zucan, the headlines. Obviously, major disappointment for Conor Ben, who revealed today that he's tested positive, unfortunately, for COVID, so we wish him well. But yeah, I mean, what can you say? Someone like Conor will be sitting at home now, absolutely gutted that he's not fighting on Saturday.
Yeah, devastated for Conor, obviously. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone, but obviously it's worked out in favour for Leeward to now be headlining, which would have been nice anyway, because it's a world title fight, and the only world title fight on the card. But yeah, definitely gutted for Conor. I know how much he puts into his training camp, investing in himself. To have the best team around him. He's obviously got Tony, Dan Lawrence as well. He's big on his nutrition, his recovery, and these things cost money. So, yeah, sorry for him, but I'm sure that he'll be back soon.
Still a stacked card. Some very interesting fights on that card. Obviously, Tommy McCarthy and Willem Smith, and Jack Cullen against Yildirim. So, yeah, as Eddie Hearn said earlier, the show goes on, and yeah.
Good card as well. I don't know much about the Tommy McCarthy and Chris Billam fight, but the lads are talking about it being a good fight there. But Jack Cullen and Yildirim, I think that will be a brilliant fight for the fans to watch, an entertaining one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that one. Probably have to watch it back, but looking forward to watching that one.
Moving away from there, have you spoken to Billy Joe Saunders recently?
Bits and bobs. We've been on a blower. Bits and bobs.
It seems as though he's taking just a bit of time out of boxing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's still. I think he said to me that he can't do anything. I think it's till November, December, or something like that, over the surgery. So. But yeah, spoke to him bits and bobs, not really anything boxing based. Obviously spoke a little bit about the fight and whatnot, but just spoke about normal stuff really that probably can't be shared along on this interview, because it's usually 18 plus what Billy Joe's discussing.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. But as just a hunch feeling, do you believe that we will see Billy Joe back in the ring again?
I've got a feeling that we will. However, if he wasn't to, it doesn't matter. Full support in whatever he chooses to do. Like I've said it lots of times, Billy Joe's probably the most talented I've worked with. Natural talent. So I know there's still plenty left in there. He was growing into the fight with Canelo. And I know there's a lot left in that tank. However, if he fell out of love with boxing, doesn't want to box anymore, there's nothing wrong with that either, you know. He's achieved everything and more of what he wanted to achieve. So it's up to him, isn't it?
Well, we'll wait and see what happens. But like you said, before anything, obviously he's got to wait until November to December to see kind of how that reacts, etc.
He might be out the ring and living his normal life and going about day-to-day life and think, do you know what, I do miss being in the gym environment, or I do miss fighting, or do you know what, I don't mind doing a bit of training a couple of days a week, but I'm not interested in actually boxing anymore, just like the environment. Don't know, I suppose it's a period of time that he needs to work things out for himself. But to be honest, straight after the fight, I was worried for him on a personal level. I was thinking, you know, I don't know. I was worried about him. I wasn't sure how he was gonna be in himself. And but he's in great spirits. Seems in great spirits. So.
Moving on from there, obviously we'll talk a little bit more in depth about this next week, but Lee McGregor in action in Belfast on the 6th, next Friday. And we know you're very excited, or get very excited talking about Mr. McGregor.
Oh, very excited. Nah, it's a good fight for Lee. Another undefeated opponent. Tall southpaw. I think it may take a few rounds before he starts being able to physically impose himself on the opponent. But once that happens, I believe that he'll start going through the gears, and it'll be another showcase performance from Lee McGregor.
And I'm sure not too long away we'll hear some news about Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall at some point as well.
Yes, obviously it's no secret that Josh has a bit of a hand injury which he's been going through rehab, hoping not to have surgery. If he does have to have surgery, I don't know. Maybe, I'm not saying it is, maybe it'll be a case of letting Jack box for the WBO and then Josh boxing him, because obviously Jack stepped aside. I'm not saying this is the case, I don't know if this may be an option. Or there may be options, you know, for Josh to move up to welterweight or whatever, I don't know. But the one thing that I wouldn't want to see is Josh going into the fight with an injury, not going into the fight 100% and thinking just a bit of complacency, because that's how problems happen. So I'd rather him, if it needs to be surgery, it needs to be surgery. If the rehab's going to fix it, then fine. But if he has to have an operation, it's not the end of the world. Let's just get that done and make sure when he's back in the ring he's 100%.
Always like to talk a little bit of heavyweight action with you, as you're a bit of a heavyweight yourself.
Brilliant. Just the...
I'm only joking. You've done a lot of weight, mate.
I'm up and down all the time. I'm always up and down. You've put a little bit back on that.
No, actually I haven't. So the last time you saw me, I don't know what state I was in then, but maybe it's because we're wearing big clothes. We are. You've got a jacket down to your knees.
Yeah.
Obviously, blame it on that. Obviously, disappointment for Tyson, who's also recovering or has recovered now from COVID. His fight with Wilder obviously gets pushed back to 9th of October. Usyk and Joshua will face off on the 25th. Yeah, no givens there. I mean, we don't know what either way those fights could pan out.
This is why I think everybody was saying, you know, we need to make that undisputed fight between Joshua and Tyson now, because anything can happen in boxing, especially the heavyweight division. As the heavyweight champion, you know, you don't get easy fights. World title fights, you don't get given world titles. You don't get given easy world title fights, no matter what Dave on Twitter wants to say. So, you know, Deontay Wilder, we know he's a threat. He's always dangerous, always going to be dangerous. I think in this fight it will take an unapproachable approach. I think that it'll be a case of you step into my punching range, bombs are going to be let go, which means that Tyson will have to be thoughtful about the way that he's going to step to Deontay Wilder. And I think that Joshua with Usyk, I know that he's been working on his boxing IQ, looking at setting traps a little bit more, taking his time, a little bit more cuter, thinking a little bit more, slowing the pace down a little bit more. However, in this fight, it's not a fight that I'd be looking to approach it in that manner. I'd be looking to set a high pace and physically impose myself on Usyk, because I think if he plays that game with Usyk and allows Usyk to dictate, then there could be real problems.
There were not a lot of people. There were some people that maybe assumed wrongly that Joshua would swerve that Usyk fight and vacate the WBO.
It's always so-and-so didn't want to fight so-and-so, so-and-so didn't want to fight so-and-so. Like, look at who he's fought already. You're not going to... he's fought some murderers, you know, top quality fighters, and the same with Tyson. Vladimir Klitschko's back garden, Deontay Wilder's back garden. Not worried about fighting anybody, are they? So I just don't get where all this comes from. It's ridiculous, to be honest, but people just like to moan about something, don't they?
Well, of course. I mean, before a lot had been said, I think the questions probably come to Eddie Hearn about, you know, the possibility of the WBO being dropped from Joshua. And I think if Eddie Hearn doesn't categorically, like, say there's no way he does, if he leaves it open, I think then that kind of gets people asking questions. Oh, does that mean then that he's...
Do you mean that's what he did do before this fight got announced?
I think I asked him at one point, and he didn't kind of dismiss that possibility.
Yeah, I think that was more so a case of, look, if the Tyson fight's there, and it's a case of the WBO aren't going to budge, then it would probably be a case of vacating it. That's probably what he meant, but again, it's not. How can you? But there would be people that went, oh, he swerved Usyk because he's fighting Tyson. Like, it's mental, isn't it? But
the fights that we're getting, apart from obviously the one we want, is between the two of them. But the fights we're getting, either or, Wilder 3 and Usyk, you can't moan about that. Like,
what's the fight that's just fell through? Caleb Plant and Canelo. That's the fight that's just fell through. But besides that, obviously we want to see that. But you know, some of the fights that we've seen recently, boxing's flying. And is it the WBO have just ordered Crawford and Porter? Another great fight. Looks like there's talks between Mikey Garcia and Regis Prograis fight. Brilliant fight. I don't know what boxing fans have got to moan about.
I think it's not just boxing fans. I just think people in life are just looking for something to gripe at any opportunity, regardless.
I think everybody's doing a fantastic job. I think that there's brilliant fights being made across the board, especially this year. There's been some brilliant fights. So, yeah, I'm happy with it as a boxing fan. Are you?
I'm always happy with it.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to be like, yeah, no, at the minute I am. But they've got to keep it up, son.
No, of course. Listen, there's loads of... I think people focus on the fights that are not happening rather than the fights that are happening, rather than he should fight him.
As soon as the fight's done, it's like, next. How often do you see people reflect and go, oh, what a brilliant fight. So pleased we got that fight. It just doesn't happen, does it?
No, but I think, like I said, we focus more on kind of them unmade fights. Like, let's not worry about AJ Fury for a minute. It's not happening for the second. But what we've got in front of us ain't a bad second choice, in my opinion. So...
No, definitely. Dillian Whyte, who would you like to see Dillian Whyte fight?
I don't know, really. It looks like Dillian Whyte will fight in America in September. I don't know. There's a lot of fights with Dillian Whyte. I'd like to see Dillian Whyte fight Wilder. I'd like to see Dillian Whyte rematch Joshua. They're all good fights, aren't they?
They are all good fights. Heavyweight division's on fire. A lot of divisions are on fire. Boxing's in a good place.
So basically, stop moaning.
Yeah, like you say, it's not boxing fans, is it? Boxing fans appreciate it. They pay for the tickets, they pay for subscriptions and these kind of things and pay-per-views. So obviously they're much appreciated. I'm a boxing fan. You're a boxing fan, but you do get the odd one that just likes to have a whinge up.
Like him on the phone now.
Oh. 6 o'clock in the morning. Ben! Not right now, Barry.
Ben, listen, appreciate your time as always.
Stop talking about COVID, he don't. He will not turn it in. He's had it 2 weeks ago, didn't he?
Yeah, I found that out today, actually, from him.
He thinks, okay, that he's sweating it out of him when he's in the steam room, and that when you sat there with COVID with the fan, it's blowing the virus away from you onto the walls. He also said, I don't think this is right. He said, when I'm wearing the mask and the visor, if I do get it, I'm only going to get a small dose.
I'm not getting into this conversation now. Ben, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Have you downloaded the new Fight Picks game?
What's that?
Well, you don't know what Fight Picks is? Mate.
Tell me about it.
Where's my phone?
She keeps playing.
Okay.
She keep flirting.
Okay.
She asked me for aftershave earlier. Then she come over and asked something about sticky hands.
Okay. Hope you appreciate this is still recording. The new Fight Picks game. Have you not seen this?
Show me them.
It's like a boxing picks game where people can win big cash prizes.
That sounds like an advert, and it's not an advert.
No, it's not an advert, but they're one of our sponsors.
It's becoming an advert, so in this interview, I suppose I should get a little drink off it. We'll have that discussion afterwards.
But we can, by the next time I interview you, this is registered to me, but next time I interview you, can you download this? It's free, and you just make your predictions, how you think the fights are going to go, as in method, what round, etc., etc., and then you're then in like a bit of a leaderboard with points, and then you get a split of the prize. This week it's £1,000. Can I convince you to do that when we finish? Just download that.
Can win £1,000? I'll do it right now.
I'm not sure of what's happening actually with it because Ben Granados is off that. So, but just download it for the next time. Fight Picks.
Fight Picks. I might download it and have a bet on Leeward.
Ben Davison, thank you very much.
Whatever you do, don't knock him out. What film's that?
Snatch.
Go down in a second, I think it is. That's Josh's favourite film.
Okay. Ben, thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you at some point in the week.
Thanks, mate.